Now, you've seen these pictures of Che Guevara, okay, and people are somehow, I don't know why, they're celebrating him. Ignorance, that's all I can say. But I'm going to de-ignorancize you. That's kind of like the same as educate, in case you didn't know. So we're going to discuss with why it is wrong to celebrate Marxist revolutionary Che Guevara, an international terrorist responsible for the murder of thousands upon thousands of innocent people. Now, despite Che's murderous history, the left continues to glorify and idolize him. Images of Che's face can be seen on T-shirts, coffee mugs, keychains, sweatshirts. Ironic, because he was not a proponent of free markets. Students walk around their campuses wearing shirts with Che's image on it, yet they have no idea of the atrocities he committed. Unfortunately, most students either ignore this part of his story or they're never truly informed about his actions. So to ignore it or be ignorant, it just doesn't make sense. Every year, Young Americans Foundation sponsors a No More Che Day on October 9th. That was just a couple of days ago, the day of his death. No More Che Day is designed to educate campus communities about Che's cult of violence. This day brings awareness to the negative effects of socialism and what the ultimate goal of socialism is. The ultimate goal is conformity or death. Socialism, conformity or death. For example, and another thought that came to mind, someone expressed this, and I just saw in the last 24 hours, somebody said, socialism is government slavery of the people. Government slavery of you're going to have your aristocracy up above, and your government, your leaders, but you want to make yourself slaves to your government, is what socialism ends up being. And then here we go. For example, most students probably do not know that Che said this. Now, this is quote, "We reject any peaceful approach. Violence is inevitable. To establish socialism, rivers of blood must flow." End quote. One could easily attribute this quote to Adolf Hitler, but it was Che Guevara. Now, why do our colleges, which claim to uphold standards of tolerance, allow students and faculty to idolize and celebrate the life of a man who had no tolerance for others and rejected peaceful approaches? Why? However, maybe that isn't so shocking, since Che also said youth should learn to think and act as a mass. It is criminal to think as individuals, end quote. This seems to be the direction that colleges are going today, with many schools trying to suppress free speech through free speech zones and other restrictive campus policies. Each year, without fail, Young America's Foundation student activists face obstacles when organizing the No More Che Day. In 2011, a teacher at Columbia Independent High School asked a student to remove posters depicting Che's atrocities. Interestingly enough, students don't need permission to decorate the outside of their lockers, but in this student's case, his free speech rights were revoked. In 2012, the University of Maryland YAF chapter student activists were called hypocrites for exposing the atrocities of Che. Why were they called hypocrites? These students who challenged the YAF chapter said that the U.S. and CIA were responsible for genocide all over the world, and that Che would be revered as a hero in fighting for social justice. How ignorant is that? Now, Che honestly believed that the victory of socialism was well worth many. Let's start that over. Quote, "The victory of socialism is well worth millions of atomic victims." end quote. Atomic, folks. It only explode atomic bombs to push the victory of socialism. Che's name is associated with revolution and rebellion. And you know what? Many people don't know that his end goal was to execute anyone who didn't embrace socialist policies. On a side note, I know anyone that was into American rock and roll and the hippies and the freedom movement and those people that really thought they were so cool, he loved to execute them. And here we see those same kind of people, the kind of young, the 2000 era, 2010 era hippie, that kind of people. They're the ones that celebrate him. And he would have killed the same people that celebrate him. On the University of California in San Diego, the UCSD campus, one can find the Che Cafe. Members are called the Collective. Wow. In 2002, the Che Collective agreed to finance a website that served as a directory for radical resources. Really? It is important to note that UCSD is a taxpayer-funded institution, and this cafe is a place where collectivist thoughts and radical ideas are encouraged and even promoted. Now, since 2010, the Che Cafe has been sued and threatened with eviction, yet to this day, the Che Cafe is still open and fighting in court to keep its doors open. I mean, really. In a letter to his father, this is what Che wrote, quote, "I'd like to confess, at that moment I discovered that I really like killing," end quote. Now, one wonders if that average student wearing a Che t-shirt knows what this hero truly stood for. October 9th is a day that should be used to educate and inform everyone, but especially our nation's youth, of the murderous thug that Che was. Che should not be hailed as a revolutionary hero. He should be known for the evil mass murderer that he was. His socialist ideas should be exposed for what they are. Part of the communist governments that are responsible for murdering more than 100 million people. 100 million. And that ends that on Che. I think you got an earful there. I know when I read, I've known this for years, but I still saw people, even someone very close to me in my family had posted this thing about, oh, he was a freedom fighter. Like, shut up. He wanted to put everybody into socialist slavery. He wasn't a freedom fighter. But see how things the history gets twisted. Anyway, I'm going to leave that subject.